This episode of After Dark is brought to you by Audible. For a free 30-day trial, head on over to audible.com/Gamebreaker, and you'll also get a free audiobook.
Gamebreaker TV.
Guess who's back? Back again. Shaft is back. Hello, friend. We're all back. Welcome to Gamebreaker After Dark, the show where you guys call in and give us your questions live right here on the air every Tuesday night at 9 p.m. PDT. I am Mike Schaffnitz. Joining me tonight, like he does, I don't know why, like we have a rotation of hosts or something. Joining me like he does every single night, we come on live, Mr. Josh Allen.
I think I quit after the Eminem reference.
You don't have your own rap like set up? I had that like primed and ready to go. Nothing. And joining us as well is Mr. Darnell, all the way from Azeroth. Darnell's gonna just rip into me now, or he's just gonna make no comment and make me feel even worse.
Because the Forsaken in the hood is always hard. You come step into us, we gonna pull your card. And all other stuff for things about the hood and everything, and etc. Cuckoo, 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 cuckoo.
I don't know. That was a good attempt, but I still think mine was better. I ripped it directly from someone else, but I'm still giving myself credit. It was still better. All right, so as a lot of you guys know, this is a show where we talk to you guys, the fans, but I wanted to start it off tonight. There's a lot of big topics. We got CES giving us a lot of new stuff to talk about. But as everybody expects me to, let's start off with some pretty hot news that I believe just came out today. Are you guys excited for some Pokemon XY? No, nothing. I gotta say, I think it's kind of exciting that they're transitioning to a 3D universe. That's a big first that the Pokemon world is getting. But I was more astonished. Like, are people actually like playing Pokemon still? I honestly gave up caring about Pokemon around Red and Blue.
Oh, let me check something real quick. Yeah, it's January 9th, 2013. So it's 3D now, hasn't been cool for about 10 years.
No, but it's new, it's exciting. Pokemon's doing it. What about the fact, the other thing that I've been seeing a lot of hate for, which I think is hilarious, is that people are now like, oh yeah, now we got 26 more Pokemons to look forward to because they've ran out of precious gems and colors. Now they're going to move on to every letter in the alphabet. XY? Like, where are they going with XY? Is that supposed to be like XY chromosomes, or?
Yeah. Pokemon,
some people were saying XYZ
Pokemon
for axes, like 3D axis. I don't know. No,
that is an extremely unfortunate
baffled?
name. I mean, it's like it's the man's Pokemon, right? It's like rrr. Then they come out with Pokemon XX, and it'll get an AO rating or something. That sounds terrifying. Please don't make that game, Nintendo. No, don't do that. I don't know, man. I don't know what to say about Pokemon. I never really got into it, and I'm probably not going to get into it now. So.
I don't know how much we can really say about it. My general response is just like, I remember I saw a tweet that got retweeted by IGN that like Pokemon's making this big announcement, and honestly, my first thought was like, we make jokes about WoW Pokemon all the time, but like I honestly didn't think Pokemon was something that was relevant anymore.
Because it isn't.
The internet's going crazy.
It's like just Pokemon nerds are the same as like Star Trek nerds and everything. It's a whole other rabid community.
That's true.
I don't know, man. I think here's my prediction. everybody is like super excited. All the Pokemon fans are super excited for Pokemon XY right now. It's gonna come out. It's gonna suck. They're gonna love it anyway. That's the next 6 months. There you go.
Well, wait, 6 months.
Pokemon's relevant.
Year, 6 months. Year. I don't know how long. I don't know what the. I don't know if they announced.
October.
I don't even know if they announced the release date.
Yeah, I think it's coming
October.
in October.
But hold on a second. I guess, don't you play Pokemon?
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Like he gave it up. Like,
oh, you're ashamed of it now. He's like, no, listen, that was a dark time in my life.
It's no longer the cool thing to do.
It
So
was cool.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't know. It's definitely news that's going around in buzz, but I just didn't think it was very relevant. Let's throw it out to a caller and get something that's maybe a little bit more.
I guess just hating on the Pokemon. Damn.
Seriously, why do you hate Pokemon so much, man?
Pokemon XY, really? That's where I lost respect.
You had a rough ass childhood with Pokemon or something.
Yeah. I can't wait. It's gonna come out. I'm gonna play the hell out of that game. I can't wait.
I'm gonna hold you to that. Let's throw it out to a caller and see.
Pokemon coming soon. Looking forward. Yeah.
All right, let's transition before I keep getting made fun of. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Can you guys hear me?
We can.
Yes.
All right. My name's George. I'm from New Jersey. Third-time caller. What's up?
Yo. Glad to have you calling back because it seems like we just can't get new people to call. I feel like I'm always begging, dancing like a monkey, singing musicals in the pre-show, trying to get people to call.
Dude, I almost retracted my question because you were singing musicals. It was horrible, man.
All right.
It's horrible.
I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure out a way to try and goad people into calling. Anyway,
okay.
What's your question?
I just wanted to know your guys' thoughts on the new Valve Steam box thing. Now that we have more information from CES or whatever, I wanted to know what you guys thought about it. You know, because now it's like a little mini computer, sort of. That's what they said. You know, so I just wanted to know what you guys thought about it.
Well, I definitely think it's modular.
It's modular, yeah.
Yeah. It
you can take it apart and put other pieces in it if you want, yeah.
They might not work, but you can do it.
Yeah, that's why I was asking, because now that they said you can upgrade it, I was wondering what you thought like parts would run, because seeing as how it's not going to be regular computer parts, I'm assuming, because of its size.
Well, first off, what do you think of a system like that that's modular, that you can interchange parts? Are you okay with the idea of investing into a console that you can pick and choose and interchange pieces to make it better? Or at that point, is it just a computer? That's
my whole thing about it. If it comes, if it's a price that's affordable, then I would totally be down for that. But if it's something like $1,000 or $2,000 or whatever it could be, I would just rather spend that money on a computer than buy that.
What's your price point? What's your fall off? I mean, we're looking at consoles reasonably priced at around $300 to $400. What's your max price that you're willing to pay for something like that?
If they do a good job on it, I would pay like $600, $700 for it.
That's still a decent, like, that's still a like packaged computer that you could walk in and buy at Best Buy and yeah, like a tablet.
So here's the thing.
Like, yeah, go ahead.
The price points weren't as big because PlayStation came out and they had a damn Blu-ray display, and they was like, oh, we gotta go ahead and we gotta charge this much money because unfortunately it's cost so much money, we gotta sell it for $600. And everyone's like, all right, I guess I'll go ahead and just spend $600 on it. That's the only reason why the damn thing was so freaking expensive.
Yeah, I think there's also something to be said for the line between a computer and a console has been getting blurrier and blurrier in the past like several years now. Like we've got Ouya coming up, which is it's an Android, but like Android is kind of like a computer also, and like really the only major difference nowadays is, are the games designed to be played from a couch? That's about it. So if I imagine we can get console quality games out of it. I say can get, because I do actually happen to have a PC controller. For whatever reason, I have one that's just for the PC instead of getting the thing that can let my Xbox controller hook to it. And I saw that CS:GO was listed as playable with a controller the other day, so I just kind of went, all right, Valve, challenge accepted. It doesn't work, not even remotely. Like, and it's not even that it doesn't work in like, oh, you know, you're not as fast as with a mouse. No, it actually just doesn't work. Like, you just can't look up and down. Like, it's just bad. If they can get developers to actually support that idea, I imagine it'll be fine. In fact, the idea of a console that you can upgrade to me is very appealing. I like that idea because then it means that, like, a lot of people don't realize this. A lot of the issues, a lot of the reasons that PC gaming, how am I gonna put this? PC gaming has actually been kind of held back by console gaming because when you're designing something cross-platform, like Dishonored or whatever, you're designing something that's going to go on multiple platforms. You need to make sure that there isn't a huge difference between the experience on the PC and the console. So that means the graphics actually get kind of held back from what they could potentially be because you're designing a game that also needs to run on a several years old console. So the idea of a console that can be upgraded is appealing to me, A, as a PC gamer, but B, as someone, I still like playing consoles. I haven't done it much lately, but I enjoy the experience. I'm all for it. If they can make it work, then I'm all for it.
How do you feel about the NVIDIA thing and then the Project Shield also? If you're
well, hang on. Before we shift to that, George, what about the idea? What do you like at all? The idea, because the Steam's box is essentially going to be working with the Steam store, and I actually had someone in the office today talk to me about the idea of, you know, they would be interested in it because they find that Steams are relatively cheaper through the Steam store. Is that something that you'll put into consideration in your purchase?
Oh yeah, obviously. Because with the Steam sales and everything like that, if I can get a couple games or maybe even one game at a discounted price, I'd much rather go with that rather than buy it for my console.
Especially if the Steam box is if it feels like a console to you as a gamer. If there isn't a noticeable difference in the experience, you're still sitting on a couch, you're still holding the controller and everything, then.
Right.
And my other thing about that is too, I wanted to know what would be the base amount of like hardware you would need to be able to run games off of Steam currently? Because if they have to make a whole new library, I don't think developers would want to be into that at all.
Yeah, they're gonna have to come out with like a rating system and be like, oh, this one works with this like a Steam box with a rating of something, kind of like Windows with the Windows XP rating system or whatever the hell it's called. Where basically it gives you a fake number that makes up based off your hardware. It's going to do the same thing if they go the modular route.
Do you think that's going to hold?
Obviously, going to make things tough. That's what I'm saying. It's like first off, they got to come up with a whole new. You know, some people got to go import the games in Linux, and then they got to go over. They got to come up with a new rating system, and people are going to go buy games, and they'd be like, okay, well, I could spend money on this, but I don't have a 9.8 Steam box.
Now, George, you also brought up the NVIDIA's take on the console
their
with
cloud gaming, whatever, and then the Steam, the Shield thing, like the handheld little controller with the screen.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any thoughts on what NVIDIA's doing with?
It said cloud gaming, so I'm assuming it's just going to be like a network like Steam.
Yeah, or we could say, I mean, there's other cloud gaming services out there. I can't think of what they are, but
OnLive.
Yeah, OnLive is what I was thinking of.
I'm assuming since NVIDIA's doing it and all the money and everything they have, all the people that have backing it, it'll turn it into something to compete against Steam.
I think they're actually working with Steam is the thing. Like from what they were saying, it sounded like they actually had Steam as part of their presentation. I think it's actually working with Steam. They're actually doing something involving Steam.
Oh, then
so yeah. I mean,
touch them after that then.
Project Shields to me seems really, really cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what they end up doing with it. Cloud gaming is something that I'm kind of in the I'll believe it works when I see it work sort of thing, because we've seen so many times in the past, like, oh yeah, cloud gaming, look at this presentation that we did over Ethernet from the server which was right next to us. Like, okay, yeah, great guys, that's fantastic. Over a 200 megabits per second connection, you can do it fine, no problem. What's going to happen to me if I'm like on DSL or something? Is this even an option at that point? It just seems like something that I'll believe that works when I see it actually working. But aside from that, like the non-cloud gaming side of that, the whole Android, like actual gaming console in your hand sort of thing, there's lots of really, really good Android games out there nowadays. I think a lot of people just don't realize how far smartphone gaming has really come in the past couple years. So yeah, I'm excited to see what it's like the Ouya again. It's the same general idea. Android is just a platform They can put whatever they want on it. If it can run, Asphalt or Dungeon Hunter, those are some really, really good Android games.
We have to be careful though, because some of these, I think the Ouya's got its own specific Android store, so you can't necessarily bring your phone games over to the Ouya. And I want to say that the NVIDIA Shield thing is the same thing.
Yeah, totally.
I'm fairly certain that's what it is, actually.
Yeah, I'm just saying it'll be relatively easy for them to port their games over to that particular. In fact, a lot of games, like Gameloft is the company that made the couple of games I just mentioned. They're already starting to shift to a model that fits inside what the Ouya wants to do. I'm sure they would be more than happy to have their games on Project Shield as well. Gameloft seems to kind of just be like, let's get our games on everything. Let's play it on a damn toaster. Why not?
Let's copy every game ever and then just put it out on everything. And then...
Exactly. Yeah.
What do you guys think of this?
They're fun.
They make great games. I do love Gameloft's games. Now, finally, what do you guys think about the idea of, obviously, we've got all of these, the Ouya, NVIDIA, and Steam all trying to kind of step into the console war. How do you think this is going to handle with the big guns, with PlayStation and Xbox? Does this mean that, A, we're going to see a console this year for them at E3 for sure? Or what about the fact that we've had a lot of peripherals, a lot of other systems come into play? Sega Saturn, Sega Saturn, Sega CD. There's Sega in general, their consoles. Do you think that these are going to be peripherals that kind of go unnoticed?
It's going to be really interesting to see how it works out. It depends entirely on the developers, I think. Because if it gets to the point where you can say, as a developer, okay, I could develop my game for the Ouya or for the Steambox or something, and it has X or Y installed base, and there's plenty of people. I don't think that we're going to see like a major hit from these guys against like the Xbox and the PS3s, just because there is still a huge market of people who will buy an Xbox just because it says Xbox, or they'll buy a PlayStation just because it says PlayStation, and they'll say, "This is what I want. I want a PlayStation." The new PlayStation will come out, the new Xbox will come out. I'm sure they'll probably still be fine. I don't know if this is going to cause a delay in anything. I don't know if it means that the new ones are going to be forced into a smaller price point. Because I'm going to mention the Ouya again, because it's the only one that we really know a specific price point on just yet. But that's a $100 console, and if it can produce, if they can get games on that are good enough, how many people are really going to say, you know what? Yeah, I could pay $100 for this console and play the same games that I could also play on this $700 console? That doesn't seem like it's going to be really realistic at that point.
Damn,
depends on a lot of different factors. Yeah, I don't think that's actually going to happen, but it's a possibility at the very least. It's just something to keep an eye on as time goes on.
Yeah, I think we might see the return of exclusives. We're going to have games come out, and it's only going to work with one single console, and that's it. Which is kind of nice, because then you get a game that isn't a crappy-ass port. It's going to be like, oh, this game was made for PS3 or PS4, whatever it's called, Xbox, damn 7000 or whatever the hell you're going to call it. This is a good thing. I mean, ish. If you own all the consoles.
Good thing in moderation, yeah. Until you try and go out and get, gone are the days where you could walk into someone's room and they had the Nintendo, the Sega, the Super Nintendo, the N64, the GameCube, the PlayStation 2, the PlayStation 3. I don't have enough shelf space for all these consoles. I'm running out.
Damn, you go to IKEA, bro. You go to IKEA, get one of them shelves. You good.
All right, let's move on and transition and keep the show rolling. So, caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Hi, it's Mark from Winnipeg.
Mark. I feel like you've called before.
I asked you that question about the voice actor question.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, don't remember that one.
Hate
Just kidding, I'm a dick. Go ahead.
I hate you. What's your question, Mark?
How are you doing, Mr. Sharpness?
I'm doing great. I just got back from holiday and had a really nice, relaxing holiday. How are you?
I enjoyed my family at Christmas. I should stop talking like an Irish person now. Sorry.
No problem. So you got a question
for
us?
You drinking, aren't you? I'm calling you out right now. You drunk?
Right now.
Yes, I'm drinking. I am drinking.
Okay, I was checking.
Rum.
Anyway, Mark, I think if I read this right, you got a question for Lore?
Yes. I'm following what Lore said about StarCraft Ghost, and if the possibility was there, do you think, well, could it fall after the third, is it the third or the second upcoming StarCraft expansion, after the Protoss expansion? Could you see it as StarCraft Ghost being another lead into something else? Or do you just see it as a standalone?
If it is StarCraft Ghost, which is a huge stretch, being realistic, it's a huge stretch. That's reaching a bit, because we're just going off of what some guy said on some forum somewhere. If it is StarCraft Ghost, then I imagine it would take place after Legacy of the Void, or even as a complete side thing going along with it. Because there's not just one story going on all the time in the StarCraft universe. There's all these other planets and stuff that, what have they been doing the entire time that Raynor's been chasing Kerrigan around? Who knows? We'll go and find out what that's all about. I imagine the storyline could take place pretty much anywhere. So, and that's assuming, again, that big assumption that it is in fact StarCraft Ghost.
All right, let's throw it real quick out to a Twitter question. Travis Olberding wants to know, why are the games out there? Why are there games out there that refuse to use third-party voice chat programs to play games, specifically in team games like MWO? You guys got any thoughts on why they just aren't integrating them in?
Gamers.
Yeah, I think he's talking about why are there people that refuse to use like, I'm not going to get on Mumble because I don't have a mic. This typical I don't have a mic excuse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh yeah, sure, you don't have a mic. Yeah. Yeah, they just don't want to. That's all it is. I don't feel like getting on that right now. I'm relaxing at the moment. I don't want to get on there and hear what they perceive to be like, oh, some little kid's gonna start screaming at me about my DPS or whatever, or, you know, my mech is all wrong or something like that. I don't know. I think it's just people that they just don't want to.
I mean, I wouldn't want. You hear all the stories and everything about how people talk on those things. I wouldn't want to go on that other damn. You get on there, they'll be like, oh, hey, what's wrong with your voice? I'll be like, shut your face. Then I'll punch you in the your mom's fat.
I don't want to, because then I might have to talk to Darnell more than I already have to, and he's already mean to me, so I don't need to be brought down even more.
Shut up. Blah, 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 I'm talking.
Exactly. That's the reason why. All right, let's start out to a caller. Caller in line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Hey, it's Adrian from Montreal, Canada. What's up, guys?
Hey, Adrian. How are you? How was your holidays?
That was pretty good. Gaming, sleeping.
Nice.
Usual.
Best kind of holiday.
Yeah, it's a good holiday.
So what's your question, Adrian?
So my question is, what's your most anticipated game for 2013 and why? And the side question is, what is your guys' resolutions for this year?
Most anticipated game. If you guys don't got it, I'll jump in and go first. Regrettably,
Pokemon XY. Oh, this would be a dick.
That's yours. You're most excited for Pokemon XY. All right, noted. Darnell's Pokemon XY. That was mine. Is I'm actually really excited for the new Devil May Cry series. I know a lot of people give hate to the reboot because of the direction that they took him. But I'm not going to let the new character design sway me from the enjoyment that I get out of the fighting in that series. So I'm going to pick up Devil May Cry next week. And the other game that I'm really excited for this year is Tomb Raider, which comes out in, I believe, March. And I can't wait for that. And especially because they put in multiplayer. So I'm really excited to see it. I think that'll kind of end up being like Uncharted's multiplayer, which was really, really fun. I'm bad and don't come up with resolutions. We'll just say work out more because I keep telling myself I'm going to go to the gym and then I never do. Favorite game of 2013, Mr. Allen.
Most looking forward to probably DayZ standalone. I'm stoked for some of that standalone action.
Are you upset that it got pushed back at all?
No. Actually, it made me more excited for it because it means that they're putting a lot more effort. Like, one thing that kind of worried me about the DayZ standalone before was that they were just going to be like, well, let's just make a version of the mod that runs on its own. It's just its own executable. And that was, I don't want that. But now that they're pushing it back, they're saying, no, we just decided we're going to just make it an entire game. It's similar, it's inspired by the mod now instead of just being a standalone version of the mod. That I'm stoked for. And I'm especially hoping that it turns out way better than the War Z. That's a thing for sure.
Damn.
Oh yeah, I mean they have to release a product that has everything listed that's in the game. That would
File
be
for trademarks, etc.
Yeah. But yeah, no, Daisy standalone probably the biggest one I'm looking forward to the most. After that, man, there are so many games that's coming out in 2013 that I'm excited for. Heart of the Swarm expansion for StarCraft 2. Firefall they're making progress on it finally. I haven't been in the beta in a little while, but I'm looking forward to seeing what that I really want to know what they think Firefall is going to be when it's done. Like when they're done with it and they say, okay, yeah, Firefall released now. I want to know what that product is going to end up being because it's been all over the place in the beta. Yeah, that's it.
What about resolution? You got a resolution that's not a mile long?
Cut my hair.
Dang! Can we get that? Can we get a video of that?
Eventually. It might not. That may not actually happen this year. It didn't happen last year. So.
Darnell, you got a favorite game coming out next year or this year? No, because Blizzard isn't coming out with an expansion. Yeah, I know. You're sass. All right, we get it. You're funny.
No. Yeah, Grand Theft Auto. 15.
I forgot about Grand Theft Auto. I'm really looking forward to Grand Theft Auto too. So many console games. Resolution. You got a resolution?
Guess I go to gym. Damn, I don't know.
You're all skin and bones, Darnell. You really should go to the gym. You need it more than I do.
That hurt.
I got a good one. All right. Throwing out to another caller before Darnell can retort.
Hey guys.
I don't even have to throw to him. What's up?
Hey guys, it's Rick from Texas.
Who from Texas?
Rick. Yes.
You sound like my roommate.
I'm a big fan of Mr. Josh Allen's Tumblr, where he posts really, really pretty girls. It's really nice.
Josh, you got a Tumblr where you post pretty girls?
No, I don't.
Oh my god, this is another one of those dudes that gets Mike B and damn Lowell mixed up. What the hell?
I have a Tumblr that has like a click, is this thing on? And that's it.
Anyway, Rick from Texas, do you got a question for us?
I also just want to know if Q is single. I just want to buy her the new goat on a cloud mount and WoW.
This might be our first troll call.
Damn, but I thought I couldn't. Man, people were like, "Oh, Darnell, I don't understand what you're saying." This dude, pull your damn tongue out your ass and say some words.
I gotta say, I'm kind of happy that we made it to episode 15 before we got our first troll call. I feel like this is a troll call. Just gonna call that out.
You think? Maybe. A little bit.
We're not sure. Hold on a minute.
Hey, last time I tried to call out Eduardo for being a troll call, and he became a staple of the show.
Well, that was just you being racist.
Yeah, hell racist.
Damn.
I'm not aware if Q is single right now.
Oh, Rick. We ain't hung up.
You don't even answer his question.
His ass. Damn.
He's hung up on. All right. Let's go throw to Joe over on Twitter. Joe wants to know, oh, this is the better one. What do you guys think of the biggest failure that game companies generally had in 2012?
Oh, that's easy. That's easy. What's 15 plus, let's see, that would be 15 plus 8. I'm just going to do it that way. Yeah, 38 studios. That was by far the biggest, that was the biggest failure that, yeah, 15 plus 8. Screw you, damn it. Math, whatever. I don't know why I thought that was a good idea. But yeah, no, that was like the biggest failure that the gaming industry has had outside of 2012. That was kind of a big deal. Yeah.
That's even bigger. Honestly, when I heard that question, or when I saw that question, I thought you, of all people, were going to immediately jump to Star Wars The Old Republic and their free-to-play model. But I completely forgot about 38.
Yeah. has a whole lot of money and a whole lot of jobs and a whole lot of dumbasses involved that thought they could go, let's spend taxpayer money and go ahead and just throw money at this dude who plays baseball real good. I'm a big fan of his. He signed my shirt for my daughter and she's really happy and stuff. So I'm going to give him $75 million taxpayer money, let him go and spend it on like whatever the hell he spent it on, and the money's gone. Oh snap, we need some more money. Hey yo, can we get some more money? And it was like, yeah, no, we can't really give him more money or nothing. That was the other dude's deal. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to sue your ass now with taxpayer dollars. Damn it.
Are we still really throwing the blame at Kurt Schilling though?
It's everyone involved.
Everyone involved.
There was not a single person who was not to blame in that entire thing. Everybody. It was the people that wrote. I don't remember all their names. Chaffee, and then the other dude that was before him that set the whole deal up, and then Kurt Schilling for getting himself in a position that he couldn't get back out of, and then
Schilling, Stokes, Chaffee.
Yeah, that was a mess.
There you guys go. 38 Studios, Kingdoms of Amalur was a mess. I still really like the game, even though I haven't finished it. But
no, you're thinking of Reckoning, but yeah.
Yeah, Reckoning. Well, Reckoning was in charge of Reckoning.
Reckoning was good. Copernicus looked really good. It looked really good from the stuff that they leaked afterwards. And that's kind of the twisting the knife at this point. Is like, well, here you go, gamers. Here's what you can't have because we're all too stupid to make it.
Until Rhode Island buys the property. Oh, wait, no. Didn't Epic buy the property? Epic bought them out.
I don't remember. Maybe they'll do something with it. Epic, I feel, is a company that's due for a good MMO at this. Everybody's making MMOs nowadays. Epic could do it. But I don't. They're going to need to like make sure everybody has a chin that comes down to like here in that game in order to actually make it an Epic property.
All right, let's start out to another caller.
Just now, damn.
And see what you got to say. So caller on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes.
My name's Marlo from Anaheim. I just wanted to ask you guys what you guys think of the story in Warcraft right now, and like how like the major faction characters are getting involved a lot more, and some of them are even like dying off or doing their own thing. Like, what do you see? Where do you see a lot of like the major faction characters like going in the future? And like, do you think there will be any left by the time World of Warcraft ends?
Well, first off, I want to say
go ahead.
hang on. Just first off, I want to say I love what they're doing in Mist of Pandaria. I have never felt more compelled to read every line of quest text to just see the world evolve and see how it develops. I actually am excited to, and I won't do it again. I spent the time with one character doing every single quest and like understanding what was going on. I'm very happy with the direction that they're taking, and I love what they're doing with it. Now, Josh, you had some thoughts?
Yeah, no, I was just saying in response to the bit about are there going to be any left? The funny thing about characters is you can make up new ones, and that's something they've been doing for like Garrosh Hellscream wasn't even a thing until Burning Crusade. And even then, in Burning Crusade, he was barely a thing. So it's something that they've got seeds sown all over the place for new characters that they can bring out. Like, whatever happened to Thessaly Crow from the Mount Hyjal quest? I'd like to see more of that character. They haven't done anything with her in a while. So there's lots of characters all over the place that they can start to build up and bring back and have say, okay, this character's now taken over for this guy, and so on and so forth. I'm not too worried about them running out of faction leaders. As to the storyline itself, I'm happy with it. I'm enjoying it quite a bit. I haven't like rushed through it like a lot of people have, but I'm still enjoying it quite a bit.
And isn't that the point of Mist of Pandaria? Was they kind of felt like they were pulling their threads too thin and really kind of starting to tap out. We've exercised Arthas. We revisited Deathwing. They wanted to introduce this. This is at least how they pitched it. Was they wanted to introduce this expansion as kind of like a little middle ground before things get crazy again to introduce new characters.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's kind of the way you got to look at what they're trying to do now is they're trying to tell more of the story and introduce more. Because as I said, I think like last year or something, I felt like we were at a point where we could go after Sargeras and just be done. And that would have made a great expansion, but I can see why they would want to do Mist of Pandaria or maybe even a couple more expansions before that to build story before we take on Sargeras so that they have somewhere to go afterwards.
I don't think we'll ever kill Sargeras.
You don't think they'll ever introduce it? Ever?
No, I don't. Maybe we'll fight him and chase him off or something, but we're not gonna kill him. But he's the source of all evil in the Warcraft universe. When you've won Warcraft, they can't do anything with the franchise anymore.
That's when Warcraft's been beat.
Yeah, exactly. Once you've beaten Warcraft, once you've beaten Sargeras, what do they do with they can't do anything with the franchise anymore. That ends the franchise. They have to come up with some like stupid little like made up on it, which of course obviously they've done stuff like this before, but they'd have to come up with something. Oh, by the way, no, actually Sargeras wasn't really the big evil the whole time. It was Tim the Bantha. By the way, we're Star Wars now. I almost said Star Trek. I'm gonna piss off every single fan base I can with that sentence. Yeah, no, I don't think we'll ever fight Sargeras. Well, I think we might fight him. I don't think we'll ever kill him.
All right, it looks like we are actually having technical difficulties. I think everybody's DDoSing Q trying to call in right now. So let's throw out to a Twitter question while we try and get her back up and running. Shane Rutherford wants to know, how well do you think MMOs or just video games can be used as educational tools? Lots of interesting ideas are out there. I love this question, first off, because over the break, I was really upset when, and it happens all the time, we get so many positive stories about video games doing phenomenal things, about curing autism and being wonderful social platforms for the inverted people out there. And there's so many good stories, but obviously when the shooting happened, the NRA turned out and their official statement was they were pointing at video games. And I hate how good stories of video games being educational get like absolutely ignored when we get such bad publicity over things like the shooting, which I don't even feel relates to video games. So what do you guys think about like what video games are doing to promote education? And do you think that they're actually doing a good job of it?
Are we talking about the NRA, or are we going to talk about video games?
This is a topic that I was like, on fire with over the holidays.
Like Modern Warfare 15, or is this Number Munchers?
All right, so let's curve it back then to strictly educational games. Stuff like, it's so tough to say because I don't feel that games that are labeled as educational, like Number Munchers, which is very clearly just for education, are the only tools that we can have out there for video games to be educational. I don't think that's not what requires a game to be educational.
I would agree. I think that things are the most educational in terms of gaming when they're not like specifically saying, oh, this is the education now. It's like sitting through school. We're going to make school fun sort of thing. That approach can work for a lot of people, for a lot of younger people especially, but I never really I've learned more about basic math, and this explains a lot probably, but I used to play the hell out of Number Munchers like crazy when I was a kid.
15 + 8.
Yeah, and then 15 + 8 equals.
You best
equals
download
30.
Number Munchers again.
Listen, I said 15 + 15 + 8. There was 3 numbers there, but anyway.
158.
Yeah.
What about the idea? Okay, here's a perfect tool that I made a joke about it like a year ago. We had a class that the whole entire half an hour, 45 minutes that we were in the class, we were playing Maphis Beacon to teach us typing skills. I learned to type without looking at the computer because of MMOs. That's why I can type 70, 80 words a second or a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
A second, yeah. Like, but I learned that skill set from playing MMOs, not from Maphis Beacon.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and I don't necessarily mean to say that educational games don't work or anything like that, edutainment or whatever. I just think it's something that when education is 100% the focus, people tend to sort of say, okay, I've got to learn now. But when you learn through the back of your mind, the beta waves or whatever it's called, you learn much better subconsciously, I think, by doing something that you're enjoying doing, and you need this skill to be able to do that, so you just naturally get better at that skill. I just think that tends to work out a lot better than like just sitting down and saying, well, you need to learn to type now, so here, type random words for the next hour long. That never really worked for me either.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I guess if we talk about educational games, it doesn't have to be Mavis Beacon with Number Munchers or anything like that. It could be like Oregon Trail. That's a good one, right? that's where you learn that when you go out, if you're hungry and stuff, you need to feed the family. You don't go and you don't kill the whole bison. What you
Dysentery and malaria,
and you put it in a chokehold until it passes out, and then you just cut off what you need and you leave, and that's it. Because if you kill the whole thing, then you can only carry back like it's like, oh, you killed 1,500 pounds of bison. Too bad your skinny ass can only carry back 15.
Well, yeah,
if you stick up on them and just carve yourself out a little piece, a little chunk.
It's funny that you bring up. It's funny that you bring up Oregon Trail, because that was actually a game that I learned a lot about reading from. Not because it was a game of, here, read this stuff, but because there was so much reading you had to do in that game that I learned a lot. Like, I couldn't read it super well. I first started playing when I was like 4 or 5 or something like that. And I couldn't read super well at the time. And I would play that game like crazy, and I'd be sitting there like looking at it, and eventually I could read everything pretty well. And I actually learned to read really, really fast. So I think that's a good example of a game that it wasn't a game that sat down to say, here, now it's time to learn to read. It was a game that said, this is the freaking Oregon Trail, and I don't even know, like, it was always classified as an educational game. I don't know what exactly it was they were trying to teach you about that. It just seemed like a game to
kill your
me.
friends using syphilis or whatever the hell.
Yeah, exactly.
I was trying to look it up, but I don't think I'll have time. I think Gameloft actually made the Oregon Trail for iPhone. It might be a different company, but you should get it on mobile. Go learn to read now on your mobile device. So yeah, I honestly think video games have great place in education, and I wish they got more publicity for it, because the community that is outside of the gaming world is so fast to turn and point the finger towards the negative. We should always still consider the positive. Let's start out to another caller and keep this show going. Caller, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name. Tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Hi, I'm Lucas from Germany.
Wow, Germany.
I was asking.
Hang on, I got to turn you up. Sorry, you're really, really quiet. I'm turning you up, Lucas. All right, Lucas, go ahead.
Did we lose him?
No, I heard him. He's there somewhere. You sure saying Lucas? I thought I said Rufus.
Might be Rufus. Rufus, Lucas. It's tough to hear.
I said Lucas. It is pretty hard to hear him all the way from Germany.
Yeah, it's got to be. Let's try one more time. Lucas, are you out there? If you can, try and shoot us your question. If not, we'll throw to a Twitter question, and we'll try and get this fixed on another episode. All right.
Damn it. Raise his ass, Skype. We got our first Germanese, and y'all gotta cut this thing off, make it all quiet.
Had a caller from across the world, and Skype had to let us down. Lucas, definitely hit us up, or hit me up on Twitter right here. Shoot my question. Rufus, Lucas, shoot your question over to me. If we can't get it on tonight's show on Twitter, we'll try and get it on a future episode. So I apologize, but Skype's being a douche. So let's start out to another Twitter question while we get someone else on the line. Kevin Bryant wants to know, hey guys, do y'all think that the pay-to-play beta model such as Firefall or PlanetSide 2 is ideal for feedback or release?
I think it's ideal for giving them funding to finish making their game. That's about what it's for. I don't think there's any particular like beta testing benefit that comes in as a result of we started letting people pay us earlier, but I also don't have a major problem with it. As long as the game is in a point where it's actually something that it's okay to spend the money on stuff, and as long as they're okay with like, oh, we had to completely change how this thing works, so we're going to reimburse people that bought it or something like that, I don't have a major problem with it. I think it still seems a little bit shady to me to be like, oh, it's a beta product, so there's going to be major bugs, but give us money anyway. But since it is something that, they need money to make the games, then
well, what about for the idea in order to receive feedback? I think this is something you talked about with MOP, where the annual pass subscribers, we saw a big influx of people having access to the beta that had no intention of giving any sort of feedback. They just looked at it as an early access. And that's important to giving people early access, is to get feedback so that they know the bugs, not just about playing the game early.
To a degree, but I think a lot about beta testing for MMOs especially is just getting people in there to see how the servers hold up, right? Just getting as many people in running on these servers as much as possible to see what sort of weird problems start happening. There's enough that they can track behind the scenes that just having people in there, even if they never like type out any single bit of feedback, they never fill out any little pop-up things that some games have that like, here's this thing, blah, 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 whatever, then still having people in there is still a good part of the beta. So I don't know. I forgot exactly what the question was now at this point, but
it was can you pay for beta to get in? Like, is it good for feedback, whatever? It makes sense, yeah. I mean, like I already said, like, yeah, they make money, and then they get more people in, especially a game like PlanetSide and Firefall, because then they get people in there, then the people who are actually doing alpha testing or beta testing or whatever it is, then they have people to play against so they can give actual feedback.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense. So kind of win-win. As long as it's not exclusively like you have to buy in order to get in. See, that's just dumb. That doesn't work at all. You have to have real beta testers in there, and you have people come in and pay whatever.
Oh yeah, if you're talking about like a system where you have to pay to get into the game, like I guess that is something that people have been doing. Like PlanetSide and Firefall kind of did, is they had the if you buy this ahead of time, then we'll give you beta access. But that was at least something along the lines of, you buy this, we give you all this stuff that comes with that normally, and then beta access on top of that. If it's something like, did Warzy do that actually, where they had you just pay?
That's kind of exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, you
I
just
want to say the game
for beta.
I'm not trying to pick on them.
I'm completely okay with picking on them. That kind of model bothers me, where it's like, hey, you can buy our, well, because Minecraft did kind of the same thing too, where they were like, yeah, well, you know, $10 for alpha, and then later it was like $20 for beta, and then or something like that. I don't even remember.
Yeah, but they didn't say, by the way, we're gonna go ahead and release this bitch in like two months. They were like, yeah, it's pretty much an ongoing beta thing. We really don't have any idea when we're gonna release this, and that was pretty much the end.
Yeah, I guess it depends a lot on the product itself too. Like, I guess it's not necessarily something that comes down to, is doing a beta, a pay-to-play beta okay, so much as is doing a pay-to-play beta for this particular product okay. It comes down a lot to what exactly is it that you're getting when you pay for it. Do you know what you're getting into ahead of time, etc.
All right, let's throw it out to another caller. I think we got our issues resolved here. So, caller, you're in the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Hi, I'm Lucas again. I'm still in Germany.
Wonderful, we got you.
Oh, good thing. I thought he left. Damn.
No, I'm not that fast. Yeah, my question, I'm not sure how much you got the last time. It's about the game Forge on Steam that recently was greenlit. Like I said before, it's basically the PvP of an MMO without the gear grind. Do you think it's the same target audience like other MMOs like WoW or Guild Wars 2, or is it a totally different thing?
Damn. Roger. Yeah. Have you played Forge? Is that what you're talking about? Forge, like something like that?
That's what he specifically mentioned. Forge. That's what he's talking about.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Okay, my bad. So,
yeah.
Well, that's my answer. There we go.
Forge.
He's asking if it works. Is that it?
Yeah. It's my question.
Oh, I think.
It sounds like Skype's being a joke again, but I think we got the question. It's, does the idea of just the MMO combat without the gear grind work? Personally, I haven't played Forge. I remember there was a game called Fury ages ago, and that sort of soured my taste for anything like that ever again, because Fury was god-awful. But that's just I don't want to take my bias against there was a bad game before, so obviously all games like that in the future must be bad. I do kind of wonder sometimes if the MMO gameplay itself, like this is something we saw with Guild Wars 2 also, is there's a lot of people who really enjoy the way Guild Wars 2 plays. There's a lot of people who felt like they were wasting their time because there wasn't a grind involved. I actually did a lot of talking about this on the Weekly Marmot a little while back too. I think without the gear grind in there, you definitely have a very niche project, or niche product, excuse me, at that point, no matter what. It's something that there's going to be a handful of people who might really be into, And the mass market, like the average World of Warcraft player, probably wouldn't be into it, because regardless of what they may tell you, the average World of Warcraft player would not play World of Warcraft if there was no grind.
That makes sense, yeah, because that's a pretty significant carrot to put out there. It's like, you do this, and we're gonna make you stronger, which kind of, I mean, in any other situation doesn't make any sense, but apparently in MMOs we all right with it. But yeah, games like Forge and I guess Fury. Sorry for your loss, but games like that, you know, they take that away. They replace it with, you know, like talents and such. They have like a progression system on the back end, but not necessarily gear, you know. But I don't know. It's like kind of like Smite almost, but kind of minus the MOBA.
Yeah, no, I think it can work, and I think I haven't played Forge, and I actually kind of want to check it out after this, just because it interests me. I just hadn't heard of it before. I don't know how I missed. Apparently, it's a big title that everybody knows about, but except me, spending too much time in World of Warcraft, I guess. I want to check it out and see how it works in there, but it is something that I feel like no matter what, that's always going to be a niche thing. It's always going to be something that you have to really, really like that kind of play. And I think a lot of people who play that type of game right now don't necessarily like that type of play. They just do it because there's a grind involved. It's because they like the idea of putting in effort and earning a reward instead.
All right, let's throw it out to another Twitter question while we still try and get some of these issues ironed out. Dedenstein wants to know, what is your answer to Olivia's chat bubble question? Darnell, I think we're going to shoot this one out to you. Do you identify with yourself? Do you identify yourself with your tunes, or are they just in-game tools?
I mean, how am I supposed to answer this question?
I think you're the most qualified to answer this question.
Okay, yeah, so sometimes when I'm out there pretending to be Jasmine, I feel like I could really relate to this character. It's like, look at me, I'm a 75-pound-year-old white girl. I'm gonna be out there, be funny on the internet, and make people laugh, and make videos about my dog. I relate to that kind of person. That's kind of who I am.
So it's an extension of you. Josh, do you feel you're a female paladin, correct?
Also an orc male, but yeah, female.
Primarily a female paladin.
I actually switched to the warlock, so I've been playing the warlock more lately. But yeah,
gotcha. I don't know, dude. I've never honestly felt that the character is an extension of me. Now, I think the way that I play is very personality driven, but I think the people that are affected by that more are the people on RP servers. They look at their characters as an extension of themselves a lot more than I think your hardcore raider or your hardcore PvPer. They're in it for the game. That to them is a tool to play the game, not who they are. Do you guys agree?
Yeah, I don't ever feel like I am the character on the screen in front of me or anything like that. I'm not like, look at me. Like I'll use phrases like, "Oh, I'm over here," or "I stood in the fire," or something like that. But that to me is me as the player made my character stand in the fire, not like I was inside the world. I don't know. I guess I never really get into the games quite that much to feel as though that is my identity, is that character.
Do you think that idea could change if they were to ever integrate VR MMOs or full dive MMOs where you are the character, or would you still have that separation?
I think it's just a state of how you mentally approach gaming. Do you feel like you are that person, or do you feel like you are playing a game? To me, I always feel like I'm playing a game. So
now I will go and put out there that, you know, when I play games like Mass Effect, those decisions is kind of exactly what I would choose. It's like, yeah, hell yeah, I'm gonna shoot you in the face. You don't shut your mouth. Damn. Of course I'm gonna shoot you. You think I'm gonna shoot him in the face. And then like, I shoot him in the face.
Is that what happened to your lower jaw? Zing! I got two. All right, let's move on to the next question. Call, you're on the line with Gamebreaker After Dark. Here, tell us your name, tell us where you're from, and tell us your question.
Yeah. Hi, this is Alexander from California, and I just wanted to know what are your guys' thoughts on
Dubstep? What are your thoughts on Skype?
What are your thoughts on wub 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 of the wub wubs that Gary plays before? I don't know. I like my musicals better, but that's just me.
Except for the popular ones, unless they're really old, in which case I'm okay with them.
Except for the popular ones. All right. So it looks like we're actually having some issues here with Skype. So let's throw it out to this last Twitter question. Let's throw it out to this last Twitter question. For those of you guys in line, we apologize. Definitely call back next week. We will make sure that you guys are at the front of the line next week. Next Tuesday. So our apologies. But final question for the night. Sutter Kane wanted to know, if the Titan rumors are true, how do you think Blizz will handle the sub model? Standard sub, free to play, hybrid cash shop, Guild Wars style? What do you guys think? How do you think Titan's going to be handled?
Man, okay, I could see them trying another subscription model. I think it'd be a bad idea, but I think I could see them trying it.
So real quick, hang on real quick before you go on. You're saying that even Blizzard can't handle a subscription model going forward past like this year?
I just think the subscription model is less lucrative. I think it's actually just worse nowadays. You will make less money running a subscription model game in today's market. I think it's actually just not as good from a making money perspective as a free to play model.
All right, so what else?
You can put a decent free to play model and not SWTORs.
What else do you think that they could embrace for Titan?
Well, I'd like to see them go for a full-on free-to-play thing. I think that a free-to-play model that Blizzard puts together and it designs from the beginning to have a free-to-play model like that, I would really love to see what their take is on the idea, at the very least. I am kind of leaning towards they would probably have some sort of subscription involved, just because they do still have the biggest subscription-based MMO in existence right now, and that works well for them, and Blizzard is a company that they tend to not go with, like, they tend not to be too crazy with stuff. So I don't know. I could see, like, unless games like Firefall, PlanetSide, etc., just really take off over the next year, I could easily imagine seeing them sticking with a subscription model for that matter. Or they could even try to do something buy to play like Guild Wars 2. I would love to find out the numbers that Guild Wars 2 was able to pull with that model, because it just seems like something that could easily have bit them in the ass.
Damn.
Darnell, you got any final thoughts here on a subscription model for your future?
Real Money Auction House.
That's the way, right there. That's the way that it's going to go. All mandated by the Real Money Auction House. Darnell, you can follow him right there at Darnell Sup. Follow all his wonderful Let's Play. Oh, wait. Darnell, we want more content.
You realize that these things been sitting in there for like 2 months. I mean, come on. I'll figure it out. I'll go and yell at people, I'll call people, and I'll do things, and I'll punch people in the face. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of everything. I got you.
And you can always catch him right here on After Dark every week to get your Darnell fix. So there you go. Josh Allen, you can follow him right down there at Devilore. Josh, I'm trying to remember what your latest Just the Tip was. The last one I watched all the way. Not up.
I didn't get today's up yet, so that's gonna be up tomorrow. It's actually a game. It's called Antiviral. It's actually a pretty interesting top-down shooter for iOS and Android. It's actually pretty fun.
Sweet. Check that out tomorrow, guys. And you can follow me right here at Mike Schaffnitz. Be sure to follow at Gamebreaker TV for all of your video game MMO related news. We got amazing shows that come out every week for Star Wars: The Old Republic, World of Warcraft, Guild Wars. It's crazy. We got a whole bunch of writers doing news topics every day. So be sure to stay locked in right here. And if you guys have not watched this show live, I don't know why you haven't yet, because we're taking your calls every Tuesday at 9 p.m. PDT, and you can only participate if you guys come watch live. So be sure to do that next week. Guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.
I miss Eduardo! Tacos.